Good day, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching us from, anywhere you are watching us from. We are reporting live from Lagos, our center of excellence, where we take a review on Talk TV Africa, on happenings, around the globe. We are not going to go further, beyond Africa, even though we have been tempted to say a lot of things about, the Middle East crisis, the recent debate by Joe Biden, and of course, Donald Trump, where Joe Biden is being believed to have lost control of that debate, and giving 100% pass mark to Donald Trump. We'll step in, just an insight. Of course, the Israeli is trying to round up their invasion in Rafah. It seems that they have destroyed all the military capabilities belonging to Hamas so far. And any moment from now, we are seeing an end to war. Of course, if that of Hezbollah, Lebanon does not escalate. But away from that, anyway, that should give you an insight, on foreign developments so far. Coming down to Africa, we saw what Gruto, what I mean by Gruto, the president of Kenya, who was an outstanding man recently, even though a lot of people is saying, he wouldn't have introduced that financial bill that led to the unrest of Kenyans, especially the youth, taking this to the street to question, the rationale behind that decision taken by that government of Kenya. But there was a massive protest, and the pressure came, on the side of the government. And because we are in a democratic setting, the government were able to, reverse that situation immediately, stop the bill, and listen to the people, to the masses, to the youths of Kenya. And kudos to the government of Kenya, and also kudos to the youth of Kenya for that success, recorded so far. Of course, that has engineered a lot of people, in Africa, to hold their government accountable to policies that does not go down well, especially for the side of the masses. We saw developments like that in Ghana recently, where Ghanaians also took to the street to question, some policies that they could not actually feast on or digest on, that has become a threat to democracy in Ghana. Of course, in some other countries of Africa too, we have seen citizens, rising up to the occasion. But what baffles so many analysts around the world is that the youth are building consciousness to development and accountability in government, and that is a good one. If Africans can continue, and especially the youth, to hold these people to accountable, maybe Africa can start to experience what they call good governance, at least maybe for the first time, if they can sustain such development in terms of pushing for accountability on the side of government. Of course, on the side of Nigeria, man, it is something not huru at all for so many Nigerians who have already hit 40% inflation rate, and the trend is pointing that Nigerians might enter into a severe famine, hunger, food insecurity. At the end of the day, if care is not taken, if government is not called to order, and who's going to do that? The little protests we witnessed during Democracy Day, where we saw the president, I wouldn't say he collapsed or somersaulted or failed, he slipped. Let me use that word. Just to give credit to the presidency, he slipped. Maybe old age, or nemesis, or Nigerians are not praying for him, and Nigerians are not supporting him. However you look at it, Nigeria is in a deadly economic situation now that has dealt massive blow to over 90% of Nigerians. Most of them are from the poor class who cannot boast of about having a meal a day, and unfortunately we are still on it. And the development we are continuing to see, it looks like the APC government does not know what to do at this point in time. There has been one policy failure from one policy failure to another. The development is ongoing as I speak to you now. The Nigeria Nigerians are just thinking and wish that the next ballot electionary campaign, the ballot day, will just be tomorrow, so that they can vent their anger on the APC-led government, and maybe, of course, throw it to the dustbin at the end of the day, and look for a better chance of having a more people-oriented leader who can be able to, who knows what it takes to transform things, to change situations, and to give us socio-economic development in all ramifications of the of our livelihood as a nation. So that's where Nigeria has been struggling with over the years, and most African countries are looking up to Nigeria youth to do a lot more in trying to do that. But you can see, because of bigotry, ethnicity, religion, and tribalism, has not been able to put the youth in a synergy, to move with unity, either to change government or to bring government attention to their plight. But we have not seen that happen. We experienced that was during the NSAS, where there was a threat to the street, because 80% of Nigerians are on the street. The street, you know what it means, and the street is being killed, shot at, by the elements of government agencies, and that was what prompted that unrest in Nigeria, where we see the youth, going on rampage for the first time. Whether we are going to have a kind of repeat of that, or a kind of revolution, or whatever, coming from the street at the same time, coming from the youth at the same time, that will be a question that will be left for so many Nigerians to look at it and digest how they want to come out from this situation that have been failing them for 104 years without any solution. We are experiencing the worst economic, worst leadership, worst government ever in the history of Nigeria. We have seen recent political movement, coming from powerful political leaders in the south, in the west, in the east, in the north, trying to see how they can avoid the bloody revolution that might likely come as a result of hunger in the land. So away from that, we have seen also some kind of side attractions, talking about what happened. One of the biggest, how would I put it, celebrity show, would I say show, festival? No, I would not say it's festival. Wedding, well, okay, traditional wedding. Talking about, Davido and Chioma. Davido, kudos to the best couple, 2024 best couple so far. I don't know the reason why Davido suddenly changed his mind and decided to take Chioma to the altar, considering the fact that, maybe Chioma has been very tolerant of the Davido excesses, or maybe she's a love, or whatever it is. It was a big surprise for Nigerians, and I think to an extent, Davido gave it all. Though they said it was quite a wasteful wedding, wasteful, everything just they flow, things they happen, but a bit rowdy. Though it was, for me, it was not professionally organized, we expected some kind of, a kind of wedding. When you see it, you see, people, seated properly, see the gorgeousness, you see the beauty, you see the preparation, you see the arrangement, classical, stupendous, spontaneous, Well, no matter how you look at it, a lot of people held the wedding, I think all over the world. People watch it all over the world. A lot of world leaders, a lot of celebrities from all over the world, they storm Lagos Island, where the venue of that event. We see governors, former governors, former presidents. Now, wow. Storming Davido's wedding. We've seen deep, big boys. What I mean by big boys, those whose pocket tells the truth at the end of the day. But that was a quite, an outstanding one for Chioma, and kudos to Chioma and Davido. I hope that this wedding, a lot of people say that a successful wedding failed the marriage. It's not my wish. I don't wish anybody that. I don't wish even Davido that. I don't wish Chioma that. Why? Davido, to an extent, has been seen as a very generous guy. That's my friend guy. Yeah. Davido, Chioma on his part seemed to be tolerant of Davido's excesses, and I think that have endeared Davido to her, to him, to the extent that he took her up and they matched the altar at the end of the day. But the streets, we didn't see the streets at that gathering, at that festival, at that wedding. Davido, we understand. We know the street made you. You cannot talk about celebrity status, popularity without the street. It's not only when you want to use the street to question government policies, that you now remember that, we are the one that are going to march the street, to change things, all in the name of Davido or whatever, or policy change or whatever, But when it comes to situations like this, where we wanted to be part of our success, there was no canopy there. We didn't see the streets, canopy that belongs to the streets there. We're supposed to have long canopy that belongs to the street. Everybody there that comes from the street, serve them on their own. You understand? Street is there rowdy too. How streets be now. But we didn't see that, and that most of the things, most of their CDs, most of their music is being played on the street. Those big men, all those children, were big boys where you see there. When it matters, when Kasala boss now, Wala day now, Davido, you go say me go match street. Now streets go, they no go show, they know they come out. But we are supposed to be, the street is supposed to be recognized, in that wedding. And Davido, please, I want you to do something about it. Think about it. You should have reason now. How you go do Davido? Well, that street now. You do everything now. We know see street for your wedding. We know say okay, this is the real reason now. We know where you are coming from. You also came from the street, and thank God that at that level you are today. God bless you, and for both. I know they're happy for that one. Moving away from that, now let's just hit on one or two things, developments around the Nigerian political sector. Talk about the government policies, talk about the face-off between labor union and of course the federal government. Before we dive into that, I want to give you an insight in one of the biggest stories. Talking about the IPOB man, the IPOB leader, the supreme leader himself, Nnamdi Kanu. We have seen that there has been a rise, there has been questions, there has been sympathy, over his continuous detention at the DSS custody. We have seen the former governor of Anambra State, and of course the LP big boy, presidential candidate Peter Obi, saying that Nnamdi Kanu is illegally and should be detained and should be released now. That's the word he used. Should be released now with immediate effect. That the state is under siege. That's the word he used. And there is no law. When you talk about law, he said law. There's no law in Nigeria. There's no respect for the rule of law. He was even saying that court have granted him several times bail, and still the federal government held him. Who is holding Nnamdi Kanu? It's not even the law. Whatever that is holding him, we know it is not the law. That is left for you to answer. And of course, we have seen the Niger Delta militants also reminding. I don't want to say they are militant, but I say the Niger Delta militant describing Nnamdi Kanu, as their brother. That's what they said. They said Nnamdi Kanu, for those of us who want to bring disconnect between the two brothers. They said Nnamdi Kanu, they are aware of what is happening and they can no longer keep quiet. And they, at the expiration of the 14-day ultimatum, they will shut down anything that has to do with oil exploration in the Niger Delta. Because they said Nnamdi Kanu is also fighting for them, is also fighting for the liberation of the people of the eastern region, the rising sun. And of course, let me just, I don't want to offend anybody, on this analysis. Today is a big day, and of course it's a Sunday day, and we normally once in a while come out together, to look at issues, from our own corner, not be from your own corner, from our own corner, you know what I mean? We'll report issues the way it is. And of course, about 50 lawmakers, signed a memorandum of understanding, a communique, let me just put it that way, directing it to the federal government themselves that Nnamdi Kanu should be released with its immediate effect, and question the reason why federal government should be biased over Nnamdi Kanu, having released Owore, having released Sunday Igboho, having released Meiti Allah for that matter. So at this point, we know that the cloud is gathering. Whatever that is going to burn at the end of the day, or whatever is going to avail at the end of the day, will be made known to Nigeria. Nigerian will see it. But what you are saying is this: Nnamdi Kanu did not offend anybody. Nnamdi Kanu does not bear arms. Release Nnamdi Kanu for national peace and stability. Thank God, even senators, House of Rep members from the north, from Kogi, from Lagos, from wherever across that means Nnamdi Kanu has successfully made Nigerians Biafrans. God bless you, Nnamdi Kanu, for that movement, for being the personality you are today. You know, and a bit away from there is the question of uncertainty, the uncertainty between the labor union and, of course, the federal government. The federal government is trying to run away from their responsibility, and they're trying to push it to the state governors to take charge of minimum wage, and the state governors are knocking their head on the ground, saying this can never be done. If we are moving to regionalism, move to regionalism. If we are moving to confederation, move to confederation. If we are moving to restructuring, move to restructuring. Then we'll be able to know how we are going to harness. Because you cannot push minimum wage to the state and you still be collecting resources that is meant for the state to the federal government. That is why we are saying that, you know, I wish that tomorrow now we just go do election, remove this Tinubu. We don't tire, honestly. Tinubu, no.